Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kayla, and if you're not new, thanks for coming back. Always happy to have you. Today I'm really excited about this video. I am sharing with you my most recent book haul, which is like the books that I have been buying lately. I really was on a book buying ban for a while. I had plenty that I just needed to read. I knew I was moving, so I didn't want to buy more and then have to move them. When I was in the process of moving, kind of my thinking was whatever you buy, you have to move. So I stopped buying books for a little bit, but now that I'm in my new apartment and I know what space I have, and I know that I'm moving to another new apartment in 2 weeks, and I'll have 2 places to keep books. We're back, baby. We're buying books. I want to share with you the books that I've been buying recently. This is probably in the last month and a half. You guys saw my massive book unhaul, my declutter of all of my shelves in the old house. So we are replacing some friends that we said goodbye to in that video. If you haven't seen it, I will link it down below and in the cards. I don't really know where to start, but I do have to say these have been sitting on my floor for probably 3 or 4 weeks now, and I've just been leaving them out because I know if I put them away I won't remember which ones I was going to talk about. I need to do this video so I can finally put these away. We got some bags here. I also have more in my car. I'm trying to think what I have though. Oh, I'm gonna start with these because I got these for free from An Unlikely Story because they had damaged books that they were gonna recycle. Because when you have damaged books at a bookstore, publishing companies don't have you pay to ship and return them. They're just donate or recycle them. So I got Melting with You by Jennifer Dugan, which I've never read Jennifer Dugan. So I have that book in hardcover that I'm really excited about. I have the new Bridget Kemmerer, the spin-off series from A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I cannot remember the name of it. It's something silver, flames of silver and light or something like that. Which I haven't finished A Curse So Dark and Lonely in that whole series, so I don't know if I can read that one yet. Let's dive into the other ones that I have here in front of me. We're talking about why I got them, all that good stuff. Okay, this one is an ARC that I got. This is Briarheart by Mercedes Lackey. It looks like a YA fantasy vibe, but it's supposed to be Sleeping Beauty meets Cruel Prince meets feminism. So just a fantasy thing with some magic training, magic school vibes. Now I get the whole Briarheart thing. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I got this. This comes out, or this already is out. This came out in October of 2021. This one I think is also out. This is One True Loves by Elise Bryant. It's I think a contemporary YA about this girl on a cruise falls in love. It's an enemies to lovers meets a whirlwind travel romp centering the love story of a black leading lady. So yeah, I just needed a YA. I feel YA contemporary romance and especially travel stories, YA contemporary travel fiction are very summery and spring to me. Maybe that's because I go on vacation in the summer. It seems like it'll be a really quick read. Then this I actually bought back in October, but I just found it in my car. Got lost in the shuffle, so we're gonna count this as getting this recently. But this is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. This is kind of it's a fall vibes book, but it's supposed to be a funny, witty kind of romance rom-com situation. Yeah, it's about this girl kind of curses her ex-boyfriend and then has to kind of join forces to save her town. So it gives me Sabrina the Teenage Witch vibes. That's the energy I get from this book. Also, if at any point in time you've read these books or you have any thoughts, or if you haven't and you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. I found the cutest little bookstore. This is Hummingbird Books in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Grant and I went out to dinner and I found this bookstore. We were at Shake Shack and it was right across from Shake Shack, and I was like, we're gonna put dinner on hold for a minute and I'm gonna go to this bookstore. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This has been all over TikTok, and like I see a bunch of people buying these books at Barnes and Noble and stuff. Honestly don't even really know what it's about, but it seems like fantasy magic school energy. I've heard really good things about this. I love this cover. It's like very simple but like gilded at the same time. So it says secrets, betrayal, seduction, power. Welcome to the Alexandrian Society. I'm very curious. This book I'm honestly not that excited to read. This is for my family book club. This is one of my cousin's picks. This is Lucky by Marissa Stapley. It's a Reese Witherspoon pick. It's basically about this girl that goes through like a really big heist in Las Vegas with a lottery ticket, and kind of her like crazy adventure doing that. But I'm like, okay, the font is really big. It's a short book. I think this will be a quick read, but I'm just not super excited for it. This book I got at Hummingbird Books, and I was super excited. Recently I've been in a standalone mood. I do not want to get sucked into a series. We will talk about it with another book that I'm going to talk about in this pile. But I grabbed A Study in Charlotte. This came out a while ago, and I remember it was all the rave when it came out. This is by Brittany Cavallaro, and I thought it was just a standalone. I thought it was like a one-shot story. A Study in Charlotte. It's basically about this girl at private school who is the great-granddaughter or great-great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes, and she has to team up with this guy that she doesn't really like to kind of solve this mystery of murder at her boarding school. Apparently there's like 3 of them. Why? Like, I get it, but why? I'm not ready to get sucked into another series. But I also really like this cover. This book, I felt like I was missing some like lighthearted, easy, fun, middle grade books in my life. And I love books about books, and books about bookstores, and books about book characters. So I was very excited about this one. This is the Book Wanderers. This is the first one by Anna James. This is Pages & Co. Book Wanderers. This is about this little girl, Tilly, whose grandparents own a bookstore, and she's there, and characters from her favorite books start coming to life, like Pippi Longstocking and Alice in Wonderland. So those start coming to life, and like stories start creeping into the real world, and she has to figure out how to put them back. And I just think this is so stinking cute. I love this cover. Again, another series. There's like 4 of these, but I think this is just such like a whimsical, enchanting concept, and I'm really excited to read it. These are my most recent book purchases, so I am excited to share these because I got these really recently. This is The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton, and my spring TBR, her other book. Hold on. Know what she wrote. I know it. Oh, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. That book was on my TBR for the spring, but I saw this one and I thought this would be really, really good for fall. It's got like witches, but it's basically about this girl who is in this like secret society of witches, and there is an amulet that goes missing that she is like hunting to find, and she comes across this guy who is also hunting to find it, and they're kind of like forced together to figure out and find the amulet that is magical. So I just, again, these covers are so good today, but this is so stinking cute. I am really excited to read this one. I think I'm gonna save this one for fall as well, but I think it'll be like a nice, like funny romance. It's supposed to be like a rom-com, very witty. This one, this was super impulsive. I had been looking at this book for a while, and I had like no real calling to read it, but I just like saw it on the table and I was like, I kind of want to just have that for when I'm ready. But this is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I've heard so many good things about this book and TJ Klune. He also wrote Under the Whispering Door. But he described this book to me as like happiness in a book, or like a Studio Ghibli movie in a book. So it's about this guy who is kind of like a social worker for like magical youth, and he's kind of sent to to investigate whether these two children are actually really evil, or if they're just kind of like magically misunderstood. Goes to this orphanage and meets the master of this orphanage, and I think they fall in love, but I'm not positive. And they have to really figure out whether or not these kids are like evil and are going to make the world burn, and how do they stop the world from burning. But I just thought it was like really sweet and like such a fun concept, like a good blend of fantasy and real world things kind of mushed together. But I'm excited to read this. I don't really still have a calling to read it just yet, so I'm curious what it will feel like time to read this. Also, does anyone else get that way, or is it just me? Like sometimes I have books on my shelf for years and then I'm finally like, the time feels right to read you. Like maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. Not a book, but I got a new notebook to take notes on my book club books. Okay, this book I literally tried to get at Barnes & Noble like 3 times and I could not find it. I tried to go to the bookstore and get it and I could not find it, but I finally found it on my last visit, and I'm hoping that's a good sign that it's really good. But I have V. Schwab's newest YA release, which is Gallant. This cover is so cool. I've said that about every book, I know, but this one is so nice. Look at this, and it's like a little glossy, and it's got like black and white sketches and things throughout it. Like I'm just really excited. This feels like a really great like reading experience book. But basically it's like about this girl, Olivia Pryor, who finds a journal after her mother has, I believe, passed away, and then she gets a letter telling her to go to this place called Gallant, which is the only place her mother has always told her never to go, but it's like summoning her to Gallant. So she goes, obviously, by the title of the book. But everything casts a shadow, even the world we live in. This is another book I found on TikTok. This is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. It's like a romance, but I love that it has like a cabin on it and these like letters and journals and these little like pine trees. I'm going to Vermont in November, and this feels like a good like cabin in Vermont book. But it's basically about this girl named Macy. She's doing well for herself. She is like successful, she's engaged, and she either goes back to her hometown or whatever, but her first love ends up back in her life and they end up falling in love again, is essentially what I get from the summary. I feel like there's more to that story. The first and only love of her life, the careful bubble she's constructed, begins to dissolve, growing from her gangly, bookish friend into the man who coaxed her heart open again, only to break it on the very night he declared his love for her. I love it. I love it. I've never read Christina Lauren, but I've heard her books are really good, so I'm excited to finally read one. That cover was so good. We're jumping on a bandwagon here. Thanks TikTok. We have Verity by Colleen Hoover. This is actually my sister Ari's book club pick for this summer as well. So she's chosen Verity by Colleen Hoover. I'm assuming you probably know about this, but this is about a girl named Lowen who, I want to say she's a lawyer, but I don't think she is. No, she's a writer. And she is summoned by the husband? Yes. Lowen is summoned by the husband of the super famous author named Verity, who has died, to go finish her books. Or she's injured. Sorry, she's injured. She hasn't died. To go finish the books that she started to write, and kind of that whole story. I think there's like some murder mystery components here. I think there's some romance components. This book was actually in the mystery section at the bookstore, so take that with what you will. Let me know if you've read this. Is it worth the hype? Please don't spoil it though, but is it worth the hype? I gotta know. This book, I am so excited to read. I hope you didn't just see it. I have literally been like counting down the days until this book was released. When it first was like launched or soft launched, like my bookstore manager sent it to me and asked if I knew anything about it, and I am so excited because it combines one of my favorite Disney movies. I'm like, I can't talk because I'm getting so excited, but it combines one of my favorite Disney movies with one of my favorite YA authors, and I'm excited. This is Bravely by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a like novelization book spin-off from the movie Brave by Disney. There's Merida, by Maggie Stiefvater, and Maggie Stiefvater is an incredible writer. I have met Maggie like 3 or 4 times, and she is awesome. She's just so cool. I also took a writing class with Maggie. I stan Maggie. She actually, the first time I went to a book signing, my mom was really annoyed that I was going to be out so late on a school night when I was in high school, and Maggie wrote a note to my mom that it was okay that I was out late and that this was a good life experience for kids to have. So Maggie, you are a real one. But it has the Will of the Wisps on the back, and it says 1 princess, 2 gods, 3 voyages, 4 seasons. And I actually don't really know what the concept of this, so we're gonna go on a little journey and discover together. But once I saw that it was Brave and Maggie Stiefvater, I just kind of had to buy it. I guess basically Meredith's feeling a little stuck, and 2 gods are like coming to her kingdom with the intent to destroy her realm. So she has to go to neighboring kingdoms and kind of rally all the folks together to kind of start a revolution against these gods and save her realm. That is what I got from that very brief read I just did. But I am excited. This cover, Meredith's looking hot. This is gonna be so good. I'm like, I want to read it so bad, but I also want to like savor it and like save it for a really like special time. I know my reading habits are weird, but I am so excited to read this book. I can't wait. 3 more. This book purchased simply on a whim when I read the synopsis. This is Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. Everybody when I bought it at the bookstore was like, we've heard such good things, this is supposed to be so good. And I said, all right. It's basically like this girl goes on like a summer trip with extended family, or like goes to visit extended family for a summer, and she meets this really cute boy in the town and asks her on a date. And while she's there throughout the summer, she uncovers that her family is actually not humans. They're like really powerful monsters, and the cute guy that's just asked her on a date is actually a monster slayer. So I think that's just gonna be interesting. But like, you don't really get that vibe from this cover, so I'm just very, very curious to see how this turns out. We're on to the last 3. Okay, book talk, you got me again with the Inheritance Games. I actually just filmed a review for this, the first one. I have not posted it yet, but I will be doing so shortly. This book like consumed me, consumed me for a day and a half. I read, like, literally all I could do was read this book. Literally read this book in a day and a half. It is so good. It's about Avery Grams, who's this like poor girl who's been basically orphaned. Her mom died, and her dad is not present in her life, being raised by her half-sister Libby, who gets a summons to be at the reading of this will from this uber rich billionaire guy that she's never met before. And he finds out that he's left his entire inheritance to Avery. He really liked games and puzzles, and Avery's super smart and very good at figuring out those puzzles and tricks and things. So his will is actually a series of clues to figure out why Avery herself was left all this money instead of his family and his 4 grandsons. So Avery has to use his 4 grandsons and their knowledge of their grandfather, and has to use kind of her wits to puzzle out these clues in his will and figure out why she was brought there in the first place. So good. 5 out of 5 stars. Go pick it up, go read it, let's do it. Because that book consumed me, I immediately had to go get the second one. And I also wanted to say that I got this one, Bravely, and the one I'm about to talk to you about in a very fun way, but we'll talk about it with the next book. I got the second one, which is the Hawthorne Legacy in hardcover. I'm like 100 pages into it so far. Probably gonna finish it this weekend, and I am very, very excited. Though I will say the third one doesn't come out until the end of August, so that's very much a bummer for me. And lastly, we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Before I talk about this book, I want to say how I got this one. For our 6-month anniversary, it was quite the busy time for Grant and I, so we did not like plan anything fun or special, but we wanted to still do something a little bit different and just like spend quality time together. And we did it in a really fun way, which is why I'm going to share it with you guys, because I think it's something, if you have a significant other, to do it and try it. And just, so we picked a nice Saturday that was actually our anniversary, and what we did is we each did each other's hobby with them. Like we spent the day doing each other's hobbies, which was nice. So Grant really likes to play disc golf. We went to a park nearby. We played around a disc golf together. I'm not very good at disc golf, but it was nice to like see him doing what makes him happy and to do that with him. We had a little picnic there, and then we went to my hobby, which is walking around bookstores and buying books I don't need. And he came along with me and helped pick out books. We looked at like Lego sets together. He found a book to read, even though he doesn't read and has not read it yet. So we kind of did that together, found books that we enjoyed. And so The Inheritance Games, Bravely, and Book Lovers were the 3 books I got when Grant and I went and did that together for our anniversary. Don't know a thing about what this book is called, but I figured it would be a fun like summer beach read, I guess. She also wrote The People You Meet on Vacation and Beach Read and something else. But it's supposed to be like, what I'm assuming, it's like a romance about 2 people that love books. That sounds like my dream. So I don't know, TikTok said it was really good. People have been raving about this book. Again, let me know if it's worth the hype, because I definitely got influenced into buying this and I don't really know what it's about. That is all that I have today for all of those books. I don't know how many it is. I want to say it's around 20, but that's what I've been buying recently. But what books have you gotten? What have you been really enjoying? What have you been reading? What do I need to go out and buy? What did you want to buy from this haul? Leave it on the comments down below for me. Let's chat about books. But yeah, make sure you go follow me over on Instagram, because that's usually where I let my followers pick my next read. And I hope you enjoyed this video and found something that you have to go buy. From this whole pile, I think the thing I'm most excited to read is gotta be Bravely. I'm really, really excited to read Bravely. But I will see you guys in my next one. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, and happy reading. Bye!
Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me?